How was your
That's fake news. When you say that, darling, that's fake news.
Well, why would you use the Department of Defense?
Listen, be quiet. Listen. You don't listen. You never listen. That's why you're second rate. We're not going to war. We're going to clean up our cities. We're going to clean them up so they don't kill 5 people every weekend. That's not war. That's common sense.
Mr. President, are you ready to move to the second phase? Are you ready to move to the second phase of sanctions against Russia or punishing Putin?
How was your call with the Prime Minister of Australia?
What do you think of all the establishment attacks on RFK Jr.?
Well, he's a different kind of a guy. He's got a lot of good ideas, but he's got a lot of ideas. You know, normally they don't have any ideas, and that's why we have problems with autism and so many other things, because we're coming up with the answers for autism. You watch. We're coming up with the answers for other things that normal people, regular people, easy to get along with people wouldn't be able to do. He's got a lot of ideas, and so do I, and we're going to clean it up. Why? Let me ask you. Yeah. Really higher than Chicago? You're not. Excuse me. Do you know how many people were killed in Chicago last weekend? 8. You know how many people were killed in Chicago the week before? 7. You know how many people were wounded? 74 people were wounded. You think there's worse than that? I don't think so.
President Donald Trump hosts congressional Republicans in the newly redesigned White House Rose Garden, touting progress on his crime-stopping efforts and declaring rumors of his death to be greatly exaggerated.
The press has been very good lately, except for one rumor that they spread. I did about 8 press conferences in a row, day after day after day. Then I missed one because I was in the Oval Office. And I also went out to a club because I had meetings at a club. And they saw that I was there. And the rumor started spreading, this horrible rumor that Trump is no longer with us. They said, and I said, I got to the club, sir, are you okay? Are you okay?
Trump also celebrated the return of the Department of Defense to its original title, the Department of War, saying words matter and having a Department of War is not the same thing as being too eager to use it.
It was called Department of War. And then we went woke after the Second World War, incredible victory, and we said, let's change it to defense. And look, war means something. It means we're not going to have any problems. We don't want problems with people. And I've kept us out of wars. I've solved wars. But the way you solve wars is through strength. And that's what we are.
Speaking of strength, the commander-in-chief touted federal agents and National Guardsmen's success in drastically decreasing crime in Washington, D.C.
And after 12 days, it became known as a safe city. And then after 2 more days, it's now one of the safest cities in the country, and people are going out to dinner. They're walking down the middle of the street. Women are walking by themselves alone, and they feel totally safe.
This comes as President Trump has hinted at similar efforts in other cities across the country and called for mayors and governors to follow the capital's lead.
In an interview with CNN State of the Union today, Homan dismissed criticism of President Trump's declaration of war on Chicago, saying the U.S. is at war with criminals and predators who are being protected by the policies of Illinois and Chicago leadership. The border czar went on to say that immediately following President Trump's second inauguration, immigration enforcement was underway in Chicago and nabbing criminals who otherwise would have roamed free.
We're at war with the criminal cartels, and Governor Pritzker protects criminal, illegal alien, public safety threats every day in that state, along with Mayor Johnson. We proved that.
This comes as Boston and New Orleans have also come under federal scrutiny for sanctuary policies and the resulting impact on crime against legal residents. President Trump evokes the film Apocalypse Now as ICE agents ramp up operations in Chicago. The Truth Social Saturday post, where the president posts an AI-generated image of himself dressed as Robert Duvall's character in the war epic. Another caption declares, "I love the smell of deportations in the morning," and promises that Chicago will find out why it's now called the Department of War. Far-left Democrat Mayor Brennan Johnson responded, saying that the threats are beneath the nation's honor and promised to defend democracy from the president's, quote, authoritarianism. This comes as DHS is expected to ramp up operations in the Windy City this weekend, while Democrat Governor J.B. Pritzker warns illegal residents in a state of impending raids.
Thank you very much. I meant to go back and see you on the plane, but some things came up having to do with Hamas, etc., and we're working on a solution that maybe could be very good.
Can you tell us what that solution
No, but you'll be hearing about it pretty soon. We're trying to get it ended, get the hostages back, get it ended. We got them all back, but 20. And as you know, we have 20, plus there are a lot of, unfortunately, dead bodies involved. And they want them back. The parents want them back. So we had some very good discussions. Good things could happen.
Can you give us your reaction to South Korea's regret, or calling it regrettable, what happened with their workers at the Hyundai plant?
Well, I'll speak to them. You know, look, it's a battery factory in that case, as I'm told. And, you know, when they're building batteries, if you don't have people in this country right now that know about batteries, maybe we should help them along and let some people come in and train our people to do, you know, complex things, whether it's battery manufacturing or computer manufacturing or building ships. So we're going to look at that whole situation. We have a lot of industries that we don't have anymore, and we're going to have to train people. And the way you train people is bring people in that know what they're doing and let them stay for a little while and help. So I'm going to look at that. It's a very interesting situation that took place in Georgia. And we heard about it yesterday. At the same time, ICE was doing right because they were here illegally. But we do have to work something out where we bring in experts so that our people can be trained so that they can do it themselves. Does that make sense? Right?
Is it straining the relationship with Korea at all?
No, we have a great relationship with South Korea. Really good relationship. You know, we just made a trade deal. But I'm going to look at it because I understand exactly what they're saying.
Page 6 crowns you the king of the U.S. Open. They put out all these old pictures through the years of you at the U.S. Open. What does it mean for you to go back after going for so many decades, growing up in Queens? Now you're going back as the president.
Well, I loved it. First of all, the two players have unbelievable talent. It just seemed that they hit the ball harder than I've ever seen before. Incredible talent. And I enjoyed it. And I used to go all the time, but, you know, lately it's a little bit more difficult to go. I really enjoyed it. They were really nice. The fans were really nice. I didn't know what to expect. Usually you would say that would be a somewhat progressive, as they say nowadays, crowd. Sometimes some people would call it liberal, but we'll use the word they like to use, progressive. But they were great. The fans were great.
Mr. President, back on Russia. Russia had a pretty big attack on Ukraine over the weekend.
I know all about it.
You have always said how good your relationship is with President Putin, but he's not really giving you anything that you want. Is that making you less trustful of him?
Well, nobody was tougher in Russia than me. That has to do with the pipeline, as you know, Nord Stream 2 and lots of other things. But I'm not happy. I'm not happy. I'm not happy about the whole situation. You know, it's interesting. It doesn't affect us because it's not our soldiers. But they're losing now. I used to tell you 5,000. They're losing 7,000 between Ukraine and Russia, 7,000 soldiers every single week. It's such a horrible waste of humanity. So, no, I am not thrilled with what's happening there, I will tell you. I think it's going to get settled. So I settled 7 wars. This, I would have said, would have been maybe the easiest one to settle of all. But with war, you never know what you're getting. But we're going to get it, I believe we're going to get it settled. But I am not happy with them. I'm not happy with anything having to do with that war. It's just such a waste of great humanity.
Obstacle to a peace deal in Ukraine. As of right now, what do you think is the greatest obstacle to a peace deal?
Well, we're going to see. I mean, we have some very interesting discussions. You know, certain European leaders are coming over to our country on Monday or Tuesday, and individually. And I think we're going to get that settled. I think we're going to get it settled. We have to. You can't lose. You know, when they're losing 5,000 to 7,000 soldiers a week for no reason, you have to get it settled. Of all of the wars, whether it's the Congo and Rwanda, they said it was impossible to settle. You look at every one of every one of these wars were impossible. I got every one of them settled, 7 of them. 7. This was the one I really thought would be the easiest, but it's not. But I think it's going to get settled.
But there was reporting in Axios that in the last 3 months of the Biden administration, they did about 4,000 pardons the chief of staff's assistant was sending emails to pardon his own family members. Are you still interested in getting to the bottom of the AutoPen scandal?
Well, I think the AutoPen is one of the great scandals of our time. The AutoPen was our president, or to put it a different way, whoever operated the AutoPen was our president. It's not allowed. It's just not allowed. And they gave a pardon to the Unselect Committee after the Unselect Committee realized that that whole situation was a hoax and it was all their fault, including Nancy Pelosi turning down security and all, turning down soldiers. It all came out bad for them. They burned everything. They got rid of everything. There's absolutely nothing there. It's all gone. And that was based on an AutoPen. They gave those members of Congress that were on the Unselect Committee, they gave them pardons.
What do you think?
So I think it's a tremendous scandal.
What do you think the media would say if you pardon your kids your last day in office via an AutoPen? Don't you think the media would go
Well,
haywire?
I think it would have been a big story.
Yeah.
Would have been. I like this guy.
Irina Zaruska was stabbed multiple times on a starting subway. You see this video?
Yeah, and where was the subway? Was where?
She was in Charlotte on a night train. She was stabbed multiple times by
Horrible.
multiple.
No, I haven't heard.
Okay.
When did this happen?
It happened in August, but the video just came out.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I see the video. I'll know all about it by tomorrow morning. Okay? Thank you.